Lakshmi of the Future War Cult is waging a war of propaganda against the Eliksni inside the last city, and this week there's been a flare-up and an outburst of violence against our visitors. Well, today I want to have a look at why Lakshmi is doing this, evidence to suggest that Savathun is infecting the people of the last city from the inside, and what this could mean for the future. So if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Well, Season of the Splicers started with the last city being plunged into endless darkness through a Vex simulation and us aligning with Mithrax, the leader of House Light. Ikora offered them refuge at the base of the last city, however some factions in the city, they're not too pleased about this new arrangement. Well, we first heard of the dissent among the ranks early in the season, with Lakshmi in her speech about us needing her help, given the Future War Cult's ability to see into the future via a Vex device. Well, let's go back and see what Lakshmi had to say.
Greetings, Guardian. I'm Lakshmi II of the Future War Cult, and I'm here to offer my assistance, because you need it quite badly. The Future War Cult has long used Vex-derived technology to see into the future. I won't bore you with an explanation of mind forking. Suffice to say, we understand its dangers and use the device responsibly. I have glimpsed our future, Guardian, and what I saw was chilling. Skies dark with smoke, shouting, gunfire, and in the center of it all, standing in our city, a group of fallen, the same fallen I saw earlier. Ikora listened to my report, but she chose not to hear it. The Vanguard would rather protect its image than its people. And so, I will handle things myself. We can change this future. Stop it from happening. While I monitor your progress against the Vex and assist where I am able, I will observe these fallen. If they begin to act against us, well, when I foresaw the Red War, they laughed, until Gaul bound the Traveler. This time, I will not whisper my warnings. I will not be polite.
Well, Lakshmi there talks about seeing visions of Mithrax in the last city standing over smoke and rubble. And Lakshmi is worried her visions are going to come true, and given we've let the Eliksni inside our walls, she's worried they're going to turn on us and destroy the last city from within. Well, Lakshmi states she's reported these visions to the Vanguard. However, her warnings have fallen on deaf ears, so she's taken matters into her own hands by broadcasting propaganda throughout the radio waves. Let's have a listen.
People of the last city, we are governed by a consensus. A democracy where the people have a say over what happens in their city. Or so we thought. But did you agree to shelter a mob of dangerous fallen? The same fallen that spent a century stealing from us, besieging our city, and destroying our families. Did you agree to suddenly forgive and forget? No. Ikora Ray decided, without the people's consent, to allow House Light inside our walls. These are not the actions of a democratic leader. She claims that this Mithrax can end the Vex curse. Then why has he not done so? Perhaps because he has no such power, or perhaps because he's simply biding his time. I have gazed into the future using Vex technology, and have seen only a strife and conflict with the fallen. Unless we change course immediately, bloodshed is inevitable.
Well, Lakshmi believes she's acting in the best interest of the last city, and believes Ikora and Zavala are being unreasonable by letting the Eliksni stay, and Ikora has responded by getting on the airwaves herself in an attempt to calm the tensions in the last city.
People of the last city, Commander Zavala and I have been touched by the generosity and kindness you've shown toward our new Eliksni neighbors. We also understand the reluctance some have shown toward their resettlement. To those who mistrust our arrangement, let me remind you that this very city was founded by refugees. We sought shelter not only from alien aggressors, but from other humans, the bandits and warlords that profited from our suffering. So it is with the Eliksni. For the first time in our shared history, we need the Eliksni, and they need us. Together with Mithrax and his sacred splicers, we can end the endless night. But only if we stand united for the betterment of all.
Well, things came to a boiling point this week with an attack on the Eliksni camp, and their belongings were destroyed, but it could all be part of the plan. A plan devised by Savathun herself. There's growing evidence that Savathun has infiltrated the future war cult systems, and Savathun could be influencing the people in the last city to stoke fear and tension so the people end up turning against themselves. Savathun, sister of Oryx and Zivu Arath, is a hive god and the currently reigning witch queen. She gains power from deception and confusion, and this whole situation could be part of her plans to take down humankind. You know, what's better than winning a battle? It's not having to fight one in the first place and cause infighting amongst your enemies and let them do all the work for you. Well, let's have a look at some of the evidence of Savathun's influence. So there's some lore on the day side, a legendary energy shotgun introduced into Season of the Splicer, and this one holds some really interesting clues. Encoded private ping via HDN proxy router. Ikora, I thought you'd want to see this. It presents as a binary in our systems, but something is splicing hashes in. I pulled it from the tower's Nexus ISO feed and it's all over the FWC networks and elsewhere. And then we've got a load of binary code, and the message goes on to say, my guess is the lettering indicates some kind of audio tone code pattern, but I haven't listened to it. You know, one of my subordinates has isolated the minor pitch fluctuations, represented here as hash. These are foreign elements to an otherwise normal binary code. So it's really, really interesting, this one. If you run this binary code through a decoder, you get a bunch of letters. And if you play these letters on an instrument, well then, you get Savathun's song. It is a little unclear in the lore as to what Savathun's song does, but I think it's widely accepted that if you sing the tune, it cannot be forgotten and it can open a doorway into your mind to allow Savathun to enter and potentially take control. So here we've got an example of Savathun's song in the future war cult network, which could indicate that Savathun is manipulating Lakshmi and influencing her visions of the future. This isn't the first time we've heard Savathun's song in the game, with Lord Shax having sung the song before, as well as Crow whistling it in the helm, so the infection may be wider than we thought and the pressure is building with violence breaking out against the Eliksni. Well, as well as Lakshmi broadcasting propaganda against the Eliksni, she's also actively plotting a coup against the Vanguard, openly discussing replacing Zavala as leader of the Vanguard with someone else. Well, let's check out a short snippet of one of the lore books. So this is from Beneath the Endless Night, and this is part 4, Conspirators. And a little background to this one. So the faction leaders have met in the last city, and this is their conversation. Hideo and I are concerned about the current Vanguard leadership, Lakshmi began carefully. Jalal allowed himself a mirthless chuckle. Yes, I've heard your open editorials. You become quite the demagogue. I never knew you had such strong feelings about the Fallen. If it's incitement to speak the truth, then so be it, Lakshmi fired back, sharper than intended. The Fallen have been a useful catalyst, but that doesn't mean we're wrong. Perhaps not about the Vanguard, Jalal replied, but the cult is hemorrhaging members, and I doubt it's your best and brightest remaining. Those who wish to leave are free to do so, Lakshmi said with a pointed glance toward a dead orbit ship. We'll be stronger without them. Zavala and Ikora have been ineffective since the speaker died, Executor Hideo cut in. The disappearance of the planets caught them unprepared. They're allowing Guardians to use the darkness, and now they've cut a deal with the Cabal? It's just too much. We must have leadership whose points of view is more closely aligned to that of the people, Lakshmi said. And who do you propose exactly? Jalal stopped the trio at the corner of a broad thoroughfare where the rumble of cargo movers masked their conversation. Saladin was our first choice, Hideo added with an ill-concerned smirk, but he's not as cutthroat as it seems. It appears the Iron Lord has a soft spot for Commander Zavala. Lakshmi gave Hideo a look as though he'd revealed too much. We're now considering Saint 14, she said, pointedly bringing the conversation back to the present. Jalal raised an eyebrow. Just who else is committed to your little coup? We have someone in a position of influence, someone who can ensure an orderly transfer of power, Lakshmi answered. Well, that person would have to be very clever indeed, Jalal said gravely. For your sake, Ikora Ray is not a target to miss. Well, here we have members of the factions in the last city openly discussing replacing Zavala with Saint 14. Well, if there was any doubt that Lakshmi has been infected by Savathun's influence, then all doubt was removed this week when Lakshmi sings the Song of the People, in inverted commas, when she's trying to sweet-talk our guardian to forgiveness over her actions. Let's check it out.
What a city we would have if everyone's heart was as big as yours. Have you heard the song of the people echoing through the city? Rise up as one, march toward the sun. The words of people reaching for dawn in this endless night. People who have still not given up hope. Neither have I. And if you were wondering, this was not the conflict I have foreseen. No, that will come later. Unless I can stop it.
Well, that song sung there by Lakshmi sounds very, very familiar indeed, and although the lyrics are different, it definitely sounds to me like it's Savathun's song. And if Lakshmi is right, and the people of the last city are singing Savathun's song, well, we are in for a lot of trouble. What does this mean for the future? Are the people going to rise up against the vanguard? The violence has already started with a backlash against the Eliksni, and we've got Lakshmi plotting to remove Zavala, and an unknown quantity of people singing Savathun's song in the last city. Well, we're just going to have to wait and find out what this means, but I don't think it's good news for us and the current leaders of the vanguard. So one thing we do know is we're working towards the Witch Queen coming early 2022, and this is going to be the next major expansion from Bungie in Destiny 2, and Savathun is yet to reveal her true self, and she does like to use people as puppets to do her bidding. Maybe the question to ask is, just who's next? Well, slightly different video today, and I hope you enjoyed that lore from the game. I really think the storytelling in Destiny 2 at the moment is really strong, and I hope you enjoyed that just as much as I did. Well, let me know down in the comments what you think about Lakshmi singing Savathun's song, and what do you think is going to happen next. Well, that is it for this look at Lakshmi singing Savathun's song in Destiny 2, and as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.